Hi all, welcome back to more Carrier Battle Philippine Sea. Just the comprehensive example of play. I'm just recording through here. This is my part 4. Yeah, 4 parts, 4 hours long. Hopefully this is the last part. Just going through it, but it's been quite good. I've enjoyed going through this, and I think it's kept me focused recording it. I've looked at things more carefully, I think. Anyway, let's push on so that we don't extend it to a 5th video, and hopefully I can then reset up the board and maybe get started on my own attempt at this game later on this evening. So, where are we at? So yeah, this is where we left things. We have moved on to the second turn. This is the 650 turn, and we look at Japanese arrival again. So this is something that only happens once per turn. So start turn 2, 650, more Japanese forces arrive. Now there are now 14 forces left, because we took a third of the 20 the last time. So we leave in 14, just checking I've got 14 now. 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, yeah. So we're going to take 1/3 of them, rounded down, so that's 4, isn't it? That's 4. Using the random arrival process, we determine that... yeah, so it's jumping ahead here a little bit to sort them out. So have we got... what did we have? A to F, didn't we? F, so I'm assuming we're having G, H, I, and J for the 4. I'm assuming that's what it's bringing. So... right, and how is it we... yeah, we roll for these on that chart, don't we? Right, okay, so it's obviously... we've done the rolling for them. So, I'll just read it. So, what have I got? G, H, I, and J. So, G arrives in hex 0708, which is here. So, it must have been zone 1 and zone 3 within zone 1. H in 1115. 1115, way along here. I goes in 1316. In there. And then J goes 2110. That's the way down the bottom. 2110. So there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, because they can't go within 6 of our task force. Okay. So there's the image. How things should look. I'm pretty sure it does look like how I've got it. So it carries on. We add activation chits for forces G, H, I, and J to the cup. So the cup's actually empty at the moment. Because I've not done anything yet. So we're going to look at everybody we've got. I'm going to set out all these chats. So yeah, we need to add G, H, I, and J to the pile. So G, H, I, and J. So G, H, I, and J go into the cup with the 6 forces already there. Oh, sorry. Right, so that's all the 10 forces, A right out to J. Then we also put in the Guam chit again. So it goes back in again. And then the subs. So that's 10. With the Guam, that's 11. And then with the subs, that's now 12. Remember, we've got to get to multiple. We can divide it by 4. And then US move, that's 13. Okay? So again, we add 3 more no ops for a total of 16, because we need to have a multiple. Right, we need to be able to divide. So we add 3 more no ops chits. Takes it up to 16. So now that's going to increase the number of chits that we draw from 3 to 4 each action phase. So up there was our chit per phase. So it's up to 4. And we've got 16 in the cup. So that's all good. Okay. And basically that was the start of the turn. So it was place new Japanese forces, fill the sequence chip cup, and then adjust the chips per phase marker, which I've just done. So now we get into the phases, and the first one is move all air raids. We still have the Guam air raid there, so I'm guessing that that's going to move back to Guam. It seems like another issue there. Yeah, I went away and asked the question on BGG about when the missions land, when air missions land for the US. You know, because it seemed to be in this example of play that was suggesting that it could land in the mere movement segment. But I got 3 replies, and all the guys seemed pretty confident in their replies, saying that no, they land in the US air operations segment, which is the very last segment, and it's called land. And that's kind of what I thought. Okay, initially coming into the game, I think when I was looking at the rules, I did sort of think that they could land in that movement phase, but then when I read about their operations, it seemed clear that that's when they landed. So I want to say this example of play is starting to look a bit iffy on a few counts. Looks like there's a few, whether they're errors or I'm just not grasping things correctly. That seemed like another one, because it didn't add fuel on for the units in the air movement phase, it just landed them. It did spend the 1 point to land them, but in my take on that, they should have spent 1 air point to stay in the air, and then until they got to the land phase in the air operation segment, and then landed. So, yeah, and there's 2 or other 3 little glitches. Of course, it's just trying to rush things through now a little bit. But, well, here we're into action phase 1. So, and it starts with mission movement dice, which is in the activation segment, but it's skipped by move all air raids. So the Guam air raid's still there. You can see it. You can see it on the map there. And then when we come on to this next image on figure 9, it's still just sitting there. And even here, it's still sitting 2 hexes away from Guam. So I can only think they've just missed that step. But I think now that should move back to Guam, because it moves 2 hexes and it's only 2 hexes away from Guam. So again, it could be that I'm not following things properly, but that's what I'm seeing. It looks like it's skipping by that phase. So let's just carry on as it is anyway. And whether I've uploaded the first part of this, whether anybody will maybe watch it and grasp any of these, or maybe I should compile a little list of any glitches. Like I said, there's nothing in the errata that's there regarding this as well. There's no comment of any errata within the example of play. Now, I haven't searched on BGG for example of play. It might be that there's people picked up on these out there as well. That's a possibility. Okay, so we'll just carry on as it's written anyway. So mission movement die roll is 5. Okay, so we'll put the die on the map with a 5. Right, and then, so that's just rolled the dice, and then we're going to draw sequence chats. I'm just moving that in the sequence of play. Right, the maximum air attack range now is 8 hexes. Oh yeah, that's a point. Like, where's the chart that shows us that one then? Let's say that could be maybe chart 1 or 2, to be honest. It's not 1, it must be 2, I think. Right, I've got 3, so 2, what's happened to 2? Oh, what have I done with 2? Alright, as here, it's just managed to get itself down the bottom. Yeah, so, zoom out, Grant. Looking at, that's what it's talking about there. Because we're on the 650 turn, you can see that the maximum range now is 8 hexes for a possible air raid. So let's put these back. Some kind of order here. Okay, but we've not drawn the chits yet. Anyway, it's just pointing out that the maximum range is 8, so we could see, we're more likely to see something. So this force is within range. Oh, sorry, I missed it. The first jet drawing is for force C. Right, okay. I'm skipping by things now. Sorry, I'm just not looking properly. Let's find force C. There it is there. Okay, so we've got force C. That's the first one to be activated. Right, so and then as we can see, that's the number that I rolled on the dice. There's force C here. Here's the task force. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 7 away. So he isn't within range. Yeah, and it certainly says the right words here, because this was the part that I was like, in fact, I just read through it without really getting it at all, really. So it says, now comes one aspect of the game that may be confusing at first. First, we determine whether this force could attack us if it had any carriers. And the whole point they do it this way is, and it makes sense, is that if it had carriers, would it attack us? And I think the answer is yes there, because we're in range, but I think we're going to do some checks first. And you do it that way so that the fact that it still could, if it doesn't launch a raid, it could still end up being nothing. And that's why you do it that way, but it does tend to make it a little more confusing. And yeah, generating the raids, I think it's section 10 it talks about there. Where is it? Yeah, I think that was that not what I was looking at right there? Yeah, this is a tough kind of bit to get through. I mean, this is the bit that's talking about right here. You know, the question is, if this were a carrier force, would it attack me now? Steps A and B. I can get myself through that. There's actually a flowchart, and I've only glanced at it and watched people talking about it on the videos that I've watched, but that looks kind of rough as well to try and guide my way through. And I think, what was it, Dave was saying that he felt that it was better reading through the actual rulebook for it. But all these sections here are a bit rough to get through. I mean, I dare say it will come, and it's probably do it if you do it step by step. You know, this is level 1 or 2 forces. Well, these are all level 0 forces, so obviously I don't need to be reading any of that just now. This is a tricky bit to get around. Well, let's just carry on reading for now before we look at any rules. So it says, if the answer is yes, then we determine whether it actually has carriers, not the other way around. The reasons for this are explained in Rule 10. Japanese raids, basically, it is so that the game gives up the least information possible. Just what I said, you don't... If they just said, right, okay, that's a carrier, then that's it, it's a carrier. Whereas they could try and launch a raid here, it might not happen, and then we still don't know what it is. I think that is something along the lines. We use the Japanese air raid generation table. Okay, what one is that? Let me find that one. Air raid generation table. Right, go with that. That's the one that's got the range, isn't it? Yeah, because we've got to roll on this first to see if. So it says there is a -2 modifier for the 650 turn and a 0 modifier for range 7 hexes. Yeah, and this is what we've done already with the Guam raid. So we're looking now, we're at 650. We know the maximum range is 8, that's why we can now do this check, because this force is 7 hexes away. So he's got a -2 modifier to the 650, the time of day. And the actual range modifier, well, he's at 7 hexes away, so there's nothing modified to that. So he's got a -2. None of these apply. Yeah, none of these apply. It's not from Guam. So we've got a -2, and it says we roll a 7. So 7 -2 is 5. So 5 or more is they will attack. Okay, so the answer now is yes. So the question was, whether this force would attack us if it had carriers. So the answer there is now yes. So now we can move on. Right? If it turned out to be a no there, we would just leave things as B and then carry on, and you still wouldn't know if there was a carrier there or not. So now we draw a level 1 chit from the hitherto unused cup of the same. So this is like the level 1 chit cup, clearly. So that's these ones here. Now I noticed I didn't put any of the double times ones in because I thought they were optional, but I think it actually shows you all these would go in. But if it draws one, I can go and get one. My guess is it's probably not going to, because that is an optional rule. So the chit drawn is a level 1 carrier. So let me, yeah, there's one. So that's what we've got. A level 1 carrier chit. I'm going to move that 4C. Well, actually, no, we're still activating 4C, aren't we? Because he's not moved or anything like that yet either. We're just checking for the air raid here. Right. So that's the chit that he's drawn. So this force is a live one, and the raid is real. Had we drawn a false contact, we would not have removed the force from play. The air raid would have been cancelled, but the force would have remained and could have turned out to have carriers later. And that's why you do it that way, so it doesn't just get found out right away. And that's important to note there, that you don't, had we drawn a false contact, we would not have removed the force from play. Does the false contact go back in the cup? I think it does in that case. Whereas the other way about, if we go and search, and get a result and we draw a false contact, right? If we were doing the searching, then we would remove that force and the false contact would be removed from the game, I think. But this way, I think the false contact would go back in the cup. I'm not 100% sure about that bit, but the force would stay on the map. Okay, but we didn't draw that. We drew a carrier. So, like it says, it's a real one. It's a live one. Okay, so carrying on. To determine the air raid strength, we use a table air raid strength level 1 to 2 forces. Yeah, because this now goes beside the force, force C. So I'm just going to put on top of it with the C showing, like that. Now, air raid strength, oh yeah, it is on this chart as well. Good. So this is here, and just to show you what I've done there on the map, I've put the level 1 carrier, that's force C, and we've still got the activation chit down here that we've drawn out the cup, because we're still in the process of doing that. And remember, we've got 3 more chits to draw out the cup. So jumping back, sorry, throwing you all about there. There's a lot of moving about. I can see myself doing a lot of moving about in this game. That flowchart, I don't know, because I probably want the rule book. This is probably a decent place to put the rule book until we get all of these Butai displays completely full. Then we're not going to be able to do that. Yeah, there's no real great place to put the flowchart that's going to be better for me, I don't think. Like I said, this would have been a good place to maybe put it, because it doesn't look like there's much things involving the map that side, but then I'll not be able to put the rulebook down and the likes. Well, we'll muddle through anyway. Okay, so this is what we're looking at now, and so I think we're going to be rolling on this and checking this. This is the air raid strength for a level 1 to 2 force of unknown air strength, right? Okay. So to determine the air raid strength, we use the table air raid strength, level 1 to 2 forces, unknown air strength. Because force C is a level 1 force and we know nothing about its air strength yet. We use the table L1 carrier, since this is a level 1 carrier force. The die roll is a 9. So yeah, there's one modifier. Again, it's for the Great Battle of the Pacific. So he's rolled a 9. Still good rolls are getting. And you can see that it's got 9/9 there. Okay, so that's the result, and I'll just tell us here. So since this is a level 1 carrier force, the die roll is 9. 2 waves each of 9 air points. Yikes. Okay, so that's what we need. 2 waves each of 9 air points. Right, so we've got 2 raids of 9 each, so, and then we've got to find out where it goes in relation to our force, our task force. So using the intercept range table, yeah, I think that's on card 1, isn't it? Intercept range table, it's down here. So this is to tell us how close, what is the range from our force that is going to be. There is a -1 on dusk and a -2 to that. So what is it? Well, I'll tell you what it rolls. It rolls, use an intercept range table, we roll a 5. So a 5 is there, so it's going to be a range 3. So it says 3 hexes. The intercept range table, the first wave, raid 1A, right, so it's going to have a 1A and a 1B. So raid 1A of 9 points will be placed in hex 1510. Okay, well this is going to be interesting to see, because I was curious to know if, so this is raid 1A, and I think the other one will be 1B. We'll find out. So I thought we might be randomising a hex here. So it's got to be 3 hexes away. There's the carrier, the Japanese force, and there's our force, and it's got to be 3 hexes away. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's going in that hex there. It's putting in that one, right? 1, 2, 3. But I mean, to me, it could have just as easily went here, or possibly here. Why is it not randomising this then, like it did the last time? And that's a range table 10.21. In a second. Yeah, this is a bit I read before, wasn't it? There's 10.21 there. After raid has been generated and its strength, composition and target determined, the raid is placed on the map using this procedure. Right, that's what we're doing. Roll 1 die and consulting the intercept range table, card 1 front, applying die roll modifiers listed, the result shows the range of intercept, which was 3. So the raid will be placed at the specified distance from the target, so 3 hexes from the target. Count along a direct line from source to target. Well, I can't go direct because they're on the row of hexes above. Yeah, I could still technically see how. I don't think hex 1610 could be counted because it looks like it's moving further away. Anyway, we'll count along a direct line from source to target. Note the source is the force which launched the strike. Okay, this is force C. The target is the target US force is determined in 10.1, which is our task force. Case of ambiguity, prefer a hex containing no US aircraft. So I suppose if there been a US aircraft in that, it might have chose a different hex. If there is still ambiguity, resolve randomly. And that's what we've done with the Guam one. So, don't know why it done it there and it's not doing it here. I mean, whether this is a huge big deal or not, probably not, but I'm a stickler for the rules, you know. So, like I say, I mean, that's the carrier they are, and that's the task force. It's came straight along to there. But I mean, you could sort of say, well, it could have went into there. You know, is that? I mean, we can't a straight line from there to there. I suppose. Does it even cross through that hex? Maybe not. You know, if I've got, hang on. I've got maybe army painter thing. You know, if you're looking straight from that hex to that hex, you know, I suppose it cuts 1510 hex. Maybe it doesn't touch that hex at all. If you're looking at that, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is taking things a bit too far, and you don't need to worry about it. Anyway, well, that's where it's saying it goes. So, I want to say that if we had a US air mission in that hex, then it might choose one of the other ones, because there's still 3 away. I would say it would choose that one. Probably not that one, because that looks like it's going. That's not. You wouldn't say that's a straight line to that, is it? That does look like the more likely one, but you could consider that. Well, mind you, Grant, look at that. If you're looking at a straight line, it's going up past it, isn't it? Then again, if you're looking at a straight line there, it's going past it there. So, a wee bit closer to it, I suppose. Okay, Grant, they're taking things a bit too far. Let's just go with what they say in the book. But, like I say, I'm a stickler for the rules. I'd rather these things weren't left to sort of, just do that. I mean, especially when it done it randomly for this Guam raid. You know, it randomised between, what was it? When it moved, it randomised between that hex, and that hex. So I don't see what the difference is there really, but okay, let's move on. Right, so it carries on and it says the second wave, raid 1B, will be placed 2 hexes behind and 1512. Effectively, these are 2 separate air raids. And I must tell you somewhere like that in the rules that that's what happens. I can't remember coming across that, but that must be how it goes. Now I need to find air raid 1B, so bear with me a second. Okay, got it. So 2 hexes behind and hex 1512. So 1, 2. So let's go in there. Right. Okay, and remember these are both 9 points each. So I've got 9 points for air raid 1A. I've got a 5, 2 2s, and I've got a 5, a 2, and 2 1s. That's what I've got. And same in the other hex. And remember, we don't know yet what the composition of fighters over attack planes is yet. And sorry, I kind of jumped the gun there. Yeah, it says we now know that Force C is a carrier force, so we replace the Force C counter with the one labelled Butai 1 because that's where that is. Yeah, so what we do here is take that off, move that away. This is Butai 1. I'm just going to leave that like that as well. And that comes off, that gets removed. Now, that means to me that the chit that I've drawn will get removed from the game as well now. Well, I say removed from the game, I'm putting it, well, I don't know, I'm not sure where it goes actually. Well, let's see what it says. So replace the 4C activation chit with the corresponding Butai 1 chit. We set the Butai 1 display card by the map and place 9 air points in both of its air raid boxes, 1A and 1B. We place the 1A and 1B air raid counters on the map and hexes 150 and 1512. Done that. Butai 1 also moves. It is now... and this is one you can get caught out. I noticed Dave got caught out with this one. Because this is now a Butai, it's not going to move with the mission movement. It moves differently. So it says here, as it is now known to be a carrier force and it is only 7 hexes distant from TF-58, it moves 1 hex further away to hex 1615. Japanese tactics were to open the range, taking advantage of the greater range of their planes. Okay, where does it tell you that? Anyway, that's Butai 1 up there, and that's our planes. And let's say we don't know what's fighter and what's attack plane yet. So it's in here in the rules, Japanese force movement, and there's a lot of different things that you can have, but we've got, if it is a carrier force that is launched an air raid at some point in the game, i.e. has air points on its Butai display, then proceed as follows. So that's where we're at. So we've got A, if located 15 or more hexes distant from all US carrier task groups, then it would use the mission movement, and it would just use that die roll of 5 and whatever compass it was at to move accordingly. B, if located 8 or fewer hexes, and remember it's 7 hexes away, distant from a US carrier task group, move 1 hex further away from that task group. When choosing the hex, give preference to hexes further east, otherwise choose randomly. Surely east is to the right, isn't it? When choosing the hex, give preference to hexes further east. And then see there, as if located 9 hexes distant from a US carrier task group, do not move at all. And then it also carries on up top. If located 10 to 14 hexes distant from the nearest US carrier and an eastern map zone, use mission movement. The red line that zigzags down the middle of the map divides eastern map zones from western ones. if we created 10 or 14 distant from all US carriers in the Western map zone, move directly towards the nearest US task group with carriers, sorry. So yeah, that one's still what we're to do. I mean, it does say we're moving 1 hex further away, but that bit says, yeah, I wonder if that could be some errata. I don't know why it's saying Eastern. A second. Well, let's just follow where it goes, Grant, and just have a little think of what I might. So it says it moves 1 hex further away to hex 1615. So here it is here. Okay. So that does make sense then. So what it means by Eastern clearly as Eastern, Grant. And Eastern is to the right. So there's the task force. There's the butai. So you would think 1 hex further away. Okay? So that is 1 hex further away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What have I done? 16, 15. Yeah, okay. So that's not going to be 1 hex further away. That is going to be 1 hex further away. That is going to be 1 hex further away. And because this one is more eastern than this one, that's why it goes in there. Okay, got it. Makes sense. Right, and there's a picture of the butai display. Oh, it's got the carrier up there. Alright, okay. I never thought of that. So that carrier L1 can go up there, as in that's what ship it is at the moment. That's what we know of it. That keeps the butai number clear. Right, okay, let's move on, because I really don't want to have another video. And we're only on page 10, we're moving on to 11. Second chit drawn is Force A. So I'm going to set Force C chit aside, but I reckon that one's going to be removed because we've removed the force. So the second one is Force A, right? In hex 0808, we check it for potential area raid, but the die roll is 1, so no raid. So that must be in range, and they've rolled and failed the die roll. So I'm just going to push on because I don't want this to stretch on our part. The force continues with mission movement, and using the die roll of 5 with his compass proceeds to hex 0907. So Force A is up there, it is within range, but it's clearly rolled the dice and not carried out any raid. So it's going to move 6 to 10 is that way, so it's going to move there, and that's going to be that. Right, so the third chit drawn is for Force B in hex 2209. It also rolls a 1 for air raid and proceeds to hex 2108, and mission movement positions are then as in figure 9 below. Okay. Yeah, so B's down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He would have been 8 X's away as well, but they had a bad roll again. They're getting some bad rolls now, good. So no air raid carried out, and he's in this zone here. A 1 to 5 is that way, so he moves into hex 2108, getting a little bit closer, and that's that. So that was all the chits drawn. Resolve air raid procedure, move force chits. Yeah, we've done all this, moved through all that. So now we're on to move air missions. US air movement segment. Right, so in the US air movement segment, we move intercept 3 and intercept 4, each 1 hex towards the incoming raid. We can't reach the raid's hex, and it will move 2 hexes in its next movement segment, so we can save the fuel. We deduct 1 fuel point each for the move, bringing their fuel levels to 6 and 7 respectively. Airstrike 5 burns another fuel point, also down to 11 remaining in the same hex. Yeah, because although we know that's a butai, we've not got it spotted, so we can't sort of head towards that. Okay. Yeah, so intercept mission 3 and 4 move in beside airstrike 5 here. And then airstrike 5 does not move, he just sits there. And like they said, there's no point in us trying to move 2 hexes towards that, because we can't actually reach it. If you could move 3, then yeah. So we're as well waiting there, because its next move, well, to be honest, its next move is not going to go into that hex, is it? Because it's going to avoid that, but it's going to go 1, 2 into there. Then we can just move into there and try and do something about it. Right, so that was 2 fuel. I'll just stretch the camera up like that. That was for intercept 3, air intercept 4, and air strike mission 5, which is just staying where it is and has to spend 1 fuel. That looks good. That looks like they've got the same on the image there. So okay, and that is what was meaning. Yeah, so now we're in the search segment, and this time we can do this again once per turn, right? So in the search segment, we move all the searchers 4 hexes out in their prescribed paths. There is 1 detection opportunity. So let's have a look at that first. So they're all going to move. Now, which is the one that's the opportunity? Force A. Looks like it's Force A. So basically, this one, sorry, what am I talking about? Force A and hex 0907. Yeah, it's that one. So we must be able to get up and get in range of that. So this one moves 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this is where it's tricky to decide, because I want to say that it's the hexes down that's just came through and a roundabout kind of, it's just not easy to, I guess, all you can go by is that player aid, but I don't find it's that clear. Unless it was clearer than I thought. So he's just moved, well, we can look at it like that. So he's just moved down, straight down there. And that's him. That was him in his first zone. So when he moved out, but the thing is, when he moved out 2 hexes. So that's 1, 2. But he doesn't get to search in these ones ahead. So I'm not sure. The colours of this are not hexes with that. Colours show zones in which diagonal modifiers for range apply. Black squares are permissible. Yeah. It's just they could have done with something better for this, unless I'm not picking this up right. So he's moved to there. The search area that he's just been through is somewhere in there, and you can see there's no forces in there. So let's just, and it tells us that there's only 1 chance of looking at something. So this guy is going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, there's no forces that he's came through in that area that he could check up on. This one's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. And yet again, there's no forces in that area. However, this is the one that obviously does do something. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now G's just in front of him. So he's not able to get that one, but I think he can search this. I think this must be in his window of opportunity. Like I say, the little template that Mike made from My Own Worst Enemy, that looks like something that could be really handy, I think. Unless somebody can tell me a clear way of grasping what hexes I can look at right now. Well, go by the example of play though, because, well, yeah, that should be how it is. So there is 1 detection opportunity, Force A in hex 0907. That's what we're looking at up here, right? The range is 5, so there is no modifier. Right, I'm looking at the air search table here, the one we were just looking at. So range is 5. So yeah, if it was a range of 8 or 9 or a range of 10, you would get minuses for that. A range of 1 to 3, you would get a +2 for that. So there's no modifier to the range, and no other modifiers apply. The die roll is 6, and the force is spotted. Okay, and that was on this table here, air search table, and you can see these are all the modifiers. And like I just said, if you'd been closer, you would have got +2. If you'd been further away, you get minuses. Lots of other modifiers there. If you've got an extra, if we had 2 planes together, where's the one? Yeah, if 2 searching units, you get a +1. If you had a submarine shadowing, you get a +1. There's submarine shadowing. Shadowing second search, I don't know what that is, 18.1. And then if you had a fighter that was doing the searching, you get a -1, so that's bad. So no other modifier, well, no modifiers at all. We rolled a 6, so it's going to be an S result, which is spotted. Okay, so now we would draw a level 1 chit out the cup, because he's spotted, and this is what we get. We get an L1 carrier. So that's on force A. Okay, just reading on. This force has not launched a strike yet, so US advantage will apply. We place the US advantage and spotted markers, see figure 10. Okay, so there it's there. It's a bit blurry that actually. So there's there. We've got the spotted, the L1 carrier on force A, and we've got US advantage now. I wouldn't have known that. That's because he's not actually launched an air raid then that we get that. Yeah, so he's spotted. I'll just put it there just now. And we've got US advantage on him. Okay, right. So we place the markers on him. That's figure 10. Okay, we should be able to finish this. It might be a bit longer than an hour, but okay. So it says decision time. There is a big Japanese carrier force somewhere to the west, but we have no fix on it. So that's the one that's Butai 1, but we've not been able to spot that yet. I think we know there's air raids coming from it, but we don't know where it is. I think that's why that's the situation. There is another force up north which we think has at least one carrier. Again, it's just an L1 with carrier, so that could change. It might not be that. I don't know. I think because it says carrier, I think there's some sort of percentage of the chance of having at least one or two carriers, maybe, but we'll see. Yeah, there's another force up north. We think there's at least one carrier, and we may get the drop on it if we hit it now. Also, for the moment at least, the big force to the west is probably shot its wad, whereas we might be able to hit force A before it hits us. All these estimates could turn out to be wrong, so don't know for sure. We have just 2 SBD and 2 F6F units ready. That's right, yeah. What to do? Pilots, man your planes. Okay, so in the US air operations segment, so that's what we're moving into now. We've done all move our air searches. We didn't launch any new searches, just used the aircraft that we had and moved them, and we resolved one search. So now we're into air operations. So they're going to launch the 2 SPDs plus one of the F6Fs we have available in an airstrike mission. Airstrike 1. Okay, yeah, airstrike 1 it can be. So airstrike 1 is going to launch, and that's going to be on our task force. And it's going to have what? 2 SPDs and just one fighter. Plus one of the F6Fs we have available in an airstrike mission. Airstrike 1 against a detected force. Yeah, okay, so we're allowed to move towards that because it's detected. Initially, its fuel level will be 14, the starting fuel level value for attack planes, but we spend 1 fuel point to move at 1 hex, the maximum allowed in the segment in which it launches towards its target. Yeah, it can only move once when it first launches. Okay, so it doesn't say where the S6F is coming from. So we're taking these 2 SBDs clearly, and this is going to go Air Mission 1. And it's taking one of the F6Fs, so I'll just take the first one there and leave the other one. Right, so that's Airstrike Mission 1. And its fuel is going to be set at 14. However, it's going to make one move as well, so we'll just put it down to 13 now. That's going to be it having launched, and it's allowed to move one. It can only move 1 hex when it first launches. So Airstrike Mission 1 would appear on Task Force 58, and then that's its target up there, and it can fly towards that now. Airstrike 5 could as well, because we've got something that's spotted, whereas this Butai, we've still not spotted it, we can't fly towards that. So this guy, I'm assuming he moves into 1307, moving towards that. Okay, so then Airstrike 5, which has been tooling around burning fuel, will also head that way in its next air movement segment. So obviously we're not in that yet. Of course, yeah, we couldn't have moved that towards that until we spotted it, and that came for, yeah, okay. So, yeah. And then it says, we launch the remaining ready F6F unit into a new intercept mission 2. So I'm not going to go back to the book just now, I'm just going to do that. So that was the last one there. And we're going to launch that as intercept mission 2, just on his own. And it's going to give us a reason for that in a second, I think. So that'll launch here as well. And it says, because every fighter in the air counts now. Oh, well, there you go. The mission starts at fuel level 16. Yeah, of course. But we're going to move it 1 as well, are we? But we move it 1 hex in the direction of the incoming raids and spend 1 fuel point bringing it to fuel level 15. Okay, so that was air mission 2. He's only 1 fighter. He started at 16, but we moved him the 1 hex to 15. So again, he's going to move along beside these into there. Suppose in actual fact I should have moved it to there, shouldn't I? Does it show where they go? No. Nah, it doesn't really give me a... Because reason being is, like I've just said to you, when this moves next, it can't quite reach the task force, and it gets to move 2 hexes. So rather than it moving on top of all these, it would move into here. But if I moved that intercept mission into there, which kind of makes more sense, that at least I don't need to burn that extra fuel. Well, actually, that's not true, because if I sit in that same hex, I'm still burning the 1 fuel anyway. Yeah, it doesn't make any difference, I don't think. Okay, right. Right, and then we send the landed fighter planes down to the hangar. So yeah, let's come back. So that's us moving on to... That was us launched and raised servicing to ready. We're clearly not doing any of that. There's nothing in servicing. Hangar 2 from servicing. We're not doing that. The lower flight deck to the hangar. Yeah, so that's the one we're doing, and we're going to send the landed fighter planes down to the hangar. So that was these guys here. So I know it goes up the way, but it's just the way they've got it. There's progression as you move from there to there, there to there, and there to there. But this is the actual flight deck we've landed, so you can see how it works, but it's a little awkward, I suppose, when you think you're moving down the way here. But so he moves up into there, down into there, down in the hangar. He moves down in the hangar. So does he. And then same with these guys, down into the hangar. There they go. Okay. And then what else we got? And we move the maximum number of planes into servicing. Ah, well, you've done that out of order as well, have you not? Yeah, lower flight deck to hangar comes after hangar 2 from servicing. Right, so they've done that back to front as well, in my opinion. So he says we move the maximum number. It's not going to really matter because there's plenty in servicing to move, in the hangars to move to servicing. About half of them fighters and half attack planes. This is a massive risk because we know a raid is coming, but I think we're kind of struggling away to do things here. I suppose I should try and do what we've got done here. Give me a sec. Yeah, so like I say, it's done that back to front, going by the sequence of play. But however, he's moved, you can see he's moved 2, 2, 1 and 1, because that's a maximum. 2, 2, 1 and 1, 2, 2, 1 and 1, and just 1 and 1 from the last 2. What is that? Is that an F6F? Are they both F6F? I can hardly read that. Well, they're 16. Yeah, they're 16 fuel or endurance, should I say. So they moved hangar to servicing. I think it's all the fighters that have moved anyway, isn't it? Is it all fighters? I don't know. I can't. It's two. No, they're bombers, I think, or attack planes. an F6F and a TBF maybe? Yeah, I think so. So I'm moving they two up. I'm just going to try and guess what's there, I think. I'm not sure. We're getting to the end anyway, so it might not matter. Okay, from what I can see there, and it's a bit tricky to see it all properly, and that's what I went for. And it did say it was moving the maximum number of planes into service in. About half of them fighters and half attack planes. So it's like I say, it's getting to the end of it now anyway, so it does look about half and half. But obviously we can only move 2 into here, 2 into here, and these being CVLs, we can only move 1 and 1. These only had 2 available, and these are CVLs, so just 1 and 1. And the same here, 2, 2, 1 and 1, 2, 2, 1 and 1. Okay. Right, so must just move on to the next action phase here, nothing else doing. And it says, and then speeds things up, I think. In the next 2 action phases, we fly the 2 strikes at maximum speed toward our target. This ends up costing 6 fuel points, but we want to get there before Force A is activated, which would remove the US advantage. Okay, and also degrade the level of detection. Okay. Airstrike 1 reaches the target in action phase 3. We roll for strike contact and obtain a 4, to which we add 1 for the spotted state at a range of 5 hexes. The contact succeeds. The force is immediately promoted to level 4. We do this 1 level at a time. Okay. Well, that's quite a chunk. Right, so I think what that means, the next 2 action phases, this guy's going to move 1, 2, and then 1, 2. That's over 2 action phases. And so is airstrike number 5. Oops. Oh, that was clumsy. Yeah, so he was here. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So he's 1 behind. And that would have cost them, well, it said it cost them 3 fuel for each. So 6 fuel each, wasn't it? Yeah, 6 fuel points each. So that's 1 and 5. So 1 goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down to 7 fuel. And 5 goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and he's down to 5 fuel. And then in the third action phase, in the next 2 action phases, actually this is going to be action phase 4 now, is it not? It says in action phase 3, airstrike 1 reaches the target in action phase 3. Well, I don't think that is the case. Anyway, so airstrike 1 reaches the target in action phase 3. We roll for strike contact and obtain a 4. Right, so we're going to say that he has then moved into this hex now, which should cost him another fuel point. I'm putting him down to 6. And let's just see what happens here, because this is kind of interesting to me about how to go about this. We roll for strike contact. Right, hang on. I'm sorry, I maybe wasn't looking down. That was airstrike 1 moving in there. To me, this should be action phase 4 that this actually happens. But again, it's just going to speed through the process, I think, to try and get this finished. So this is what it's talking about here. We've reached the target, and it is spotted. And this is a strike contact table. So we roll for strike contact and obtain a 4, to which we add 1 for the spotted state. So there's a +1 modifier if the target force is spotted. So we got a 5. The range and hexes to nearest US task group, a range of 5 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I count 6 hexes, because it's It's 6 away from the nearest task group. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. 5 to 7. I'm counting 6 unless that force has moved. No, because it moved. Oh, I can't remember. I don't think it has moved. Yeah, it would have done. Maybe I didn't move it then. Maybe it's further down. I'm sure I did move it. That's maybe another glitch. Anyway, the result on a 5 on a range of 6 or 5, whatever it was, is a C. So that's a contact. Result C, strike contact's intended target. So that's exactly what we wanted. So at a range of 5 hexes, the contact succeeds. The force is immediately promoted to level 4. We do this one level at a time, right? So I've not really been through this, to be honest. Because it's level 4, because we are on top of it, I think we've contacted that. So promote to level 2, we roll on the L1 carrier column of the L1 to L2 intelligence table. The row is 3, yielding a result of 1 to 2 characters. Right, let's have a look at that. Okay, so that's that table up the top there. So we've got to, although it's going to upgrade to level 4, we need to go through them one at a time to find out, because this would determine what the next one, you know. So we roll in the L1 carrier column of the L1 to L2 intelligence table. The row is a 3. I don't think there's modifiers here, no. So the row is a 3. On the L1 carrier, you can see that the result is 1 to 2 carriers. So that is now what we would do. We would go into the, well, we go into the L2 cup, I think, and we will not find one that says 1 to 2 carriers. But I don't think we need to. Is that right? Give me a sec. Yeah, so I think that would be our result. So if we were just trying to spot this with our plane, our spotting planes, and we upgraded it from a level 1 to a level 2, this is what we would draw. We would draw that and it would then become that. However, we are not. We've spotted it, we're on top of it. We've got to know exactly what it is. So we've got to go through the L1 L2, L2 L3, and then is there an L3 L4? There is, yeah. So to find out exactly what's in its makeup. So that's the result for that one, 1 to 2 CVLs. So I'm just going to read on. So then for level 3, we use the L2 to L3 forces table. We locate the section labelled L2 1 to 2 carriers, because that's what we are looking at. Oh, that's surface forces, sorry. That's this one here. Zoom out a little bit. So L2 1 to 2 carriers, there it's there. So we're looking in this table in here, and we roll, is the topmost section, and the row labelled unknown, since the air strength of this force is unknown. Okay, so that must be air strengths there. So unknown or 67. Right, so we're looking unknown. That's the line we're looking along. A die roll of 5 results in a force of 0 CVs and 2 CVLs. So what was it, a 5? We rolled, sorry, that's that 4 to 9. So then we look up here to see what we get. So we get 0 CVs, but 2 CVLs. So is that our level 3 chit then? Let me see. I think it's going to be that one. I was looking for one that said 0 CVs, but I'm thinking, well, why would it tell you about nothing? It would just tell you what it is. So it's 2 CVLs. So that's our level 3 chit. And then reading on, finally for level 4, we use the level 3 to level 4 carrier forces. So we're using this one for that. Table in the 2 CVL column, we roll a 5. So there's 2 CVL column, we roll a 5. Again, the modifier there's for that great battle. So we come across to the 5 on the 2 CVLs, and it is in fact 2 CVLs. So that's the final result. Different rolls at this point could have resulted in anything from a single CVL to 2 CVs and 1 CVL. So you see that, yeah, if we had drawn, we could have drawn Imagine if we'd rolled a 10 there, it would have been a CV and 2 CVLs. So you just don't know. Even with that, the intelligence isn't there to tell you exactly what it is. So we now know that it's going to be 2 CVLs. I think I can just chuck this back in the cup. So we randomly draw 2 CVLs from the Japanese counter mix. Okay, so there's a randomly drawn 2 CVLs that they drew, the Ryoho and Zueho. And it also says, so that's the 2 that they draw. It also says we also need to generate a screen, first using the screen generation chart. Well, that's over there. So let me carry on reading. I've not done this. We see that for a force of 2 carriers, yeah, it's a medium surface minus 2 DRM. So it says we should generate a medium surface force with a diroll modifier of minus 2. So using next the L2 to L3 surface forces table, using next, the one just above, yeah, that we tried to look at before. So using that table, we roll in the column L2 medium surface. Okay, because it was medium surface, but we've got a minus 2 diroll modifier. So we're rolling on this. We roll in the column and roll a 7. Subtracting the minus 2 leaves us a net 5, which is a CA result. This leaves a net of 5, and a CA must stand for cruiser force. So a cruiser force, we draw one at random and end up with the force shown above. So yeah, you must have to draw that randomly as well. So there's different values of that. So that's the one that they drew randomly. So next we check surprise on the surprise table. Where's that about? Right, so this is us on the surprise table. We get to add +1 for the US advantage marker. Yeah, modifier there. Well, actually, and the force is not launched anyway. I guess I got a +1 for that as well. And +1 because the force is still not launched to strike. See, it's saying it's calling it a strike there. It should be calling it a raid. It's a raid for them. It's a strike for us. A roll is 8. The modified value of 10 yields complete surprise, which is really good. So it means we're not going to get any anti-aircraft fire. We're going to get a +5 to our damage roll. They're going to get a -3 to the cap die roll. Okay, so now we need the Japanese cap strength table. Wow, there's a lot to this, isn't there? Yeah, so this is now going to be what they're going to launch as a cap to try and take care of us. So the cap strength table for the 2 carriers combine their value of 10. Yeah, if you look at their counters, that's the yellow number. Must be the yellow number. That's 10. So that's what they've got as a cap. What is it? Net air value. So it was a 10. So it's on at the 7 to 10 column. So we roll -1/-3 results from Japanese surprise, if any. No, that's not going to apply, is it? Oh, yeah. No, of course it is. Yeah, because if it was minus, that was from the surprise table. If we'd got a partial surprise, we would have got a -1 to this cap die roll. Yeah, this is the cap die roll, Grant. Yeah, okay. And we got complete surprise, so it's a -3. So they've got a strength of 10, air value of 10, with a -3. We roll a row of 3. So the row of 3 -3 is going to be a 0. So 0 or less on a 10 is actually a 0. So they're not going to have a cap at all. This is excellent as it will double the strength of our attack. Yeah, of course, if they've not got any cap aircraft fighters out there, it doubles the strength of the attack. So the Japanese ships do not get to fire anti-aircraft because of the complete surprise. So we're kind of skipping by a couple bits there, but normally they would probably launch some cap and then they would probably get some anti-aircraft, but because we got complete surprise, which was a die roll of 10, by the way, so the chances of that are quite slim. Anyway, so let's just move on to finish this off. Maybe I'll just read through this. I think it's just telling us, well, no, I should. So they're not firing anti-aircraft. So looking through the sequence of play there, we're in the US attack segment. We were just checking for Japanese CAP. We've done surprise. Japanese anti-aircraft is not going to be that. So now we're at air-to-ship combat. And there should be a table for that. Air attack die rolls. Yeah, I think it's that one there actually. I think it's air attack. So let's look here. Final part, number 8. The 2 SBDs. Right, so yeah, this is Airstrike 1. So I'm going to put this here. And that's the 3 ships. And I'm going to get Airstrike 1 out. And this is what it's got. It did have an S6F, which is now going to be useless to us, isn't it? Because it was only there to take care of any fighters. Well, yeah, any cap, yeah, but there turned out to be none. Okay, so let's just read on. The 2 SBDs have a total attack value of 10. Yeah, so it's 2 5s. Can you not just move that up a bit, Grant, so we can see it all? So they've got a value of 10, but it's going to be doubled because they've not got any, they didn't bring any fighters out. We'll expend 1 fuel point so we don't suffer an adverse column shift, right? That's part of this here. So this is the table that we're going to be looking on, the final one, I think. So you can see there that when we attack, if we don't shift 1 column, well, if we don't spend 1 fuel point, we would shift 1 column to the left. So what did I say? We're at 10, we're at 20. So we're at 18 here. So we would be shifting down to that column. However, we're going to spend the fuel point, it says. So it's 1 to spend that extra fuel point for airstrike number 1, down to 5. But you should also be spending 1 to carry out the attack. I think it's just 1. It's because this is an air strike, it's not an air intercept. It's 3 for an intercept. I want to say it's just 1 for the air strike. Let us see. Yeah, we'll spend 1 fuel point so we don't suffer an adverse column shift. Fortunately, we are not far from home, so there's still plenty of fuel to return. Right, it doesn't seem to be spending that extra fuel, but it should also have to spend a fuel point to make the attack, I believe. Right, I'll just read on. Attack value 10 yields 2 damage die rolls. Yeah, so it was attack value 10. Why is it saying that? We were on this column here. It's saying 10. It should be saying 20, shouldn't it? So we're on this column. It's 18. So it's going to yield 2 die rolls with a +1 modifier. Is that what it says? 2 damage die rolls, each with a +1 modifier. And we also get a +5 modifier for the complete surprise as well. So the net is +4. Why? It's +6, Grant. Ugh. A bit of a mess, isn't it? You find an awful lot of glitches, unless I'm totally not grasping things right. I mean, it's saying there the attack value is 10, but the attack value's already been doubled to 20. So this should be 20, which it does. If you look on the 18, it does say 2 dice rolls and a +1 in bracket. So it's 2 damage die rolls with a +1 modifier. And you also get a +5 modifier for a complete surprise. So that +1 and +5 does not net +4. So it should be +6 that. So we'll use 1 roll against each carrier. So you've got to decide that from the beginning. So we're going to use 1 roll on this and 1 roll on that. We roll 3 and 5, which becomes... Right, now they're adding it as a +6, so that's just a misprint. Right, so 3 becomes a 9 with a +6, and 5 becomes an 11. So 4 hits against Rahu. Here's the damage table just down below here. So 2 dice, we rolled a net 9 for 4 hits, and then a net 11 for 5 hits. So 4 and 5. You can see there'd be some modifiers there which aren't applying. So we take, 4 hits on this guy and 5 hits on this guy. I'm not quite sure what are they. Is it the 5? Is that their hit points? I'm not sure. What does it say? Four hits against Rahu, which is heavy damage, and 5 hits against Zuhu, which will sink it. Right, does it tell us this anywhere? Or is that just, is it a damage table we need to look at? Hang on. Yeah, so I think that's it here. So, yeah, that must be their hit capacity. That must be that middle number. Quickly looks up the book. Yeah, hit capacity is, for both of them, is a 5. It's the 2 numbers in the middle top. So a 5 and a 5. So we've dealt 4 damage here, and what did I say? 6. No, 5. So 4 to that and 5 to that. 5 is a complete that destruction of that. So that's eliminated. And the 4, it said heavy damage. We need this Japanese damage effect summary. So heavy damage, half or more hit capacity, permanent hits, which gives it 0 air value. So it carries on by saying, note that hits here refer to a level of damage, not necessarily to an actual number of bomb hits. We place current turn hit markers. Yeah, so heavy damage, permanent hits, current turn hit markers. Yeah, this is a bit that I haven't. Oh no, just dropped that other counter. That wee small counter tray, they're all over the place. So what was it saying? Current turn hits. What did I say? Was it 5? No, it was 4, wasn't it? Yeah. There's a 2 and a 2. Current turn. So I think he gets the likes of that on him. And of course he's eliminated. And I'm talking about that. So that's current turn hits. So he's got 4 in it. We're just finishing off what it says here. And I need to get this wrapped up. Place current turn hit markers. These will be promoted over the next 2 turns to permanent hits, at which point Zuho will be sunk. In the meantime, we might still suffer a strike from this force, indicating a strike launched before our forces got there. So the next action phase, our other strike will arrive and perhaps be able to finish off the remaining damaged carrier. Partial retribution for the loss of the Essex. Okay, I don't know how he can... yeah, because he could be considered to have launched a strike before we got there. So I guess we would need to find that out in the next turn. Anyway, that's where it finishes off. Okay. Right, still over an hour. I'm going to pick all that mess up as well. Right, okay, well that was good. I was just getting a bit, near the end. It was trying to rush it near the end, and I also wanted it to kind of move a bit as well to get it finished. So good. There is a lot to it. There's a lot to this game. It's going to take me quite a while to get through it, I think. And the way I like to do it, obviously. But I think it could be enjoyable. That was starting to be a bit of a what do we do next bit there. But I think when I'm doing it myself, I'm going to have to be taking my time and go through it slowly. We were trying to rush at the end. I think the actual example of play was rushing it as well. So it started not being as detailed about what was happening, and made me trying to have to look through all these different tables and that, which there's a lot of. Okay, well that's that. I'm not sure, it stretched on a little bit longer than I thought. I'm not sure if I will get this the actual game started tonight now. maybe, I need to adjust quite a lot of this back, won't I? Mind you, some of these will all be in the same place, I think. So, maybe it might be doable. I might get it started, you never know. But if not, I've still got the rest of the weekend off. I'm sure I'll be back tomorrow and ready to go. Okay, but I'll leave it for now, and next time hopefully it'll be me actually at the controls rather than just reading it from an example. Okay, cheers.